The story of migration. Learn objectives. Assalamu alaikum, my friends. Our lesson today is about one of the remarkable stories of Islamic history, which is the story of the Prophet's migration to Medina. Shall we begin? We have learned together that prophets have always faced denial and were driven out of their hometowns by their people. And that's what happened with our beloved Prophet. The Prophet, peace be upon him, migrated with his companion Abu Bakr because his people denied his message, and because their harm for all of the believers became intense. Now who can tell me, when did the Prophet, peace be upon him, migrate from Mecca? That's right, when the Prophet was 53 years old. The migration of the Prophet was in the month of Rabi' al-Awwal. Allah the Almighty commanded His honorable Prophet to get out of Mecca and migrate to Medina. Therefore, the Prophet planned for this thoroughly in order to prevent the disbelievers' plot from harming him or his companions. After careful planning, he put his trust in Allah Almighty in order to be successful and safe migration. The Prophet, peace be upon him, made sure that all other believers left Mecca to Medina successfully and safely before him, and that he is the last one to migrate to Medina. This is a key leadership attribution to ensure every believer is safe as well. On the day of his migration, he did the following. First, he requested his cousin Ali ibn Abi Talib to sleep in his place. This made the disbelievers who were spying on the Prophet's bedroom to believe that he is still there at home. This allowed more time for our beloved Prophet to leave his house and migrate to Medina. Second, in the middle of the night, he slipped out of his house, and the disbelievers waited in front of the house, but they didn't see him because Allah the Almighty made them not able to see him. The honorable story was mentioned at the beginning of Surah Yasin. Allah the Almighty said in Surah Yasin, "And have placed a barrier before them and a barrier behind them, and covered them all up, so they fail to see the truth." Third, he migrated with his friend Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him. 4. He headed toward Medina and took refuge in the cave of Thor. You should know, my dear friends, that the disbelievers followed the footprints of our beloved Prophet and his companion until they reached a few meters from the cave of Thor. However, they saw a pigeon with a nest and spiderweb at the entrance of the cave. This made the disbelievers think no one could be inside the cave, otherwise the pigeon would have flown away and the spiderweb would have been broken down. There, they neither saw the Prophet nor his companion, even though they were a few meters away from the entrance. This special event of the disbelievers who couldn't see who is in the cave was mentioned in the Holy Quran. Allah the Almighty said, "It does not matter if you believers do not support him, for Allah did in fact support him when the disbelievers drove him out of Mecca, and he was only one of two." While they both were in the cave, he reassured his companion, "Do not worry, Allah is certainly with us." So Allah sent down His serenity upon the Prophet, supported him with the forces you believers did not see, and made the word of the disbelievers lowest, while the word of Allah is supreme, and Allah is Almighty, All-Wise. The verse emphasizes that when Allah Almighty is with a person or group, Allah will make them victorious and safe. Abu Bakr thought he and the Prophet were two persons in the cave who could not deal with a group of disbelievers who were there to harm them. The Prophet reminded Abu Bakr that Allah Almighty is with them. The key importance of migration to Medina is that Islam began to spread faster, a community of Muslims began there, and harm to Muslims stopped. Let us together summarize what we learned today. The Prophet, peace be upon him, and his companions endured harm and hardships when receiving and spreading the revelation from Allah Almighty. When Allah Almighty is with someone, that person will be safe and protected and will achieve his goals. Allah Almighty was with the beloved Prophet and Abu Bakr, and as a result, they reached their destination without any harm. Well done, my smart students. I love you so much. We have learned today that Allah Almighty commanded the Prophet to migrate from Mecca to Medina after the harm of his people became very intense. Therefore, the Prophet obeyed Allah's command and made all necessary planning for the migration, and then relied on Allah Almighty for success. It was a notable sacrifice that Ali ibn Abi Talib slept in the bed of the Prophet, peace be upon him. This made the disbelievers who were spying on the Prophet's bedroom to believe that he was still there at home. This allowed more time for our beloved Prophet to leave his house and migrate to Medina. We have learned that the cave the Prophet, peace be upon him, stayed in during his migration from Mecca to Medina is the cave of Thor. The Hijrah is not just a story of a journey from one city to another. It's a narrative rich with lessons on faith, resilience, community building, and the pursuit of peace and justice. Additional key learnings from the migration Hijrah are: trust in Allah Almighty. This teaches the importance of having faith and relying on a higher power in the face of adversity. Patience and perseverance. Early Muslims faced severe persecution in Mecca, yet they remained patient and steadfast. Planning and strategy. While having faith is crucial, it should be coupled with thoughtful planning and actions. Brotherhood and unity. The Prophet established bonds of brotherhood between the migrants and the residents of Medina. Sacrifice for greater good. The Hijrah was a sacrifice for the sake of a higher purpose. Importance of a safe environment. Leaving a hostile environment is necessary to preserve one's faith and well-being. Commitment to faith. The firm commitment of the Prophet and his companions to their faith despite persecution. We have finished our lesson for today. See you soon in another lesson. Goodbye.